Well, Seattle hockey fans, that was quite the game against the Kings. The good news is that we got the win, and there were some bright spots regarding the big picture. If we look at this game individually, my opinion is it tells a different story. And for all of you out there who are saying that 17 goals in a game is exciting, you're wrong. All that and more coming up on this episode of Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Erica L. Ayala, your host of Locked On Kraken. Happy Wednesday. Happy post-game day. Wow. We got an exciting kind of maybe sort of game. There was a lot happening. How exciting it was after a certain point in time, I believe is up for debate. If you like goals, cool. Here's the thing. These weren't, it wasn't good. No. It wasn't good hockey. And if you don't want to take my word for it, well, we'll hear from some players and Dave Hakstol later on the show. I thought that I had slept on it, and I was gonna come in here and be prepared to talk about this in a way that was coherent and not me just emoting. But I'm still a little rough. It's still a little raw. I did not like this game. Now, yesterday, what were we talking about on the podcast? And if you listen, thank you as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily listening. We appreciate it. But you know that on yesterday's episode, we were talking about the Seattle Kraken earning wins, the Seattle Kraken trending upwards. We were talking about the Seattle Kraken doing the things they needed to do to win games. Now, on the whole, the big picture, the Seattle Kraken still did those things. But the Kraken crap pile, sky high. Sky high. And it goes back to something that I say all of the time. I do not think that the Seattle Kraken have done enough on the defensive side of things. Yes, I talked yesterday very firmly that forechecking, being a checking team in all three zones, yes, that is defense. We are talking defense there. I don't like how we played defense yesterday. Arguably, neither team played defense. But let's step aside and away from my rant just for a moment's time, because you best believe I'm going to get back into it, because this was a wild and crazy game. There was so much happening. Oh, we're going to get into the Coachella Valley Firebirds in a minute, but let's go to final buzzer. This is Bob Condor. I like this open. Let's just start here. Some nights you go off script, way off script. That happened here in the vicinity of Hollywood proper Tuesday. What was anticipated to be a grinding, tight, defensive-leaning game turned into a high-noon, old-school Western pew-pew shootout during the first period. The undoing of any possible goalie duel started early, 16 seconds into the game. He's absolutely right. The demise of this started 16 seconds into the game when the Seattle Kraken let up their first goal. I didn't even make it to my monitor to see this goal. And I know, apologies for anyone that was looking for me on playback. I knew I wasn't going to make the first period. I actually got to my apartment sooner than I thought. That being said, there's a part of me that wishes I had recorded my real reaction, and there's another part of me that I couldn't even muster, and I'm still having difficulty mustering the words. This game was wild and out of control, but 16 seconds into the game, we let up a goal. That was Kopitar. That's his 5th goal of the season. What I liked is within the first essentially 6 minutes of the game, we get a goal by who? Matty Beniers. Not only do we get a Matty Beniers goal, but it's a power play goal. A power play goal. As a matter of fact, there were a lot of power play. So many power play goals in this game. Let's take a look at it here. The Seattle Kraken were 3 for 4 on the power play, so I like that. 2 for 4 for the Kings on the power play. Though when the Kings scored on the power play, you hear Dave Hakstol talk a lot about he likes not just getting saves, but getting saves at the right time. He likes not just getting goals, but getting goals at the right time. We gave up goals at the wrong time, my friend. As a matter of fact, Allison Lucan, she, in her analysis, which we'll get to in a little, well, I guess I'm getting to it right now. She said that there were 3 response goals by the Kings, 4 response goals overall, but 3 response goals by the Kings. So when you look at the scoring summary here, you see that, again, Matty Beniers gets on the board. Jared McCann then follows suit. But then Jared McCann scores at 8:42. 9:16, we get a Kings goal. Then you see Matty Beniers in the second period scores at 1:31. Kings get a goal at 2:48. We get a Jared McCann goal at 4:56. Kempe scores at 6:45. And then we get our response goal. Daniel Sprong scores at 7:27. I mean, it was like, what is that? Naked Gun, right? Where it was just one of these, and not in a fun way. I was stressed out. This was stressful. This was not good hockey. This was a mess of a game. And, I talk about sometimes the Seattle Kraken getting national attention. Yeah, we got attention. We got attention for sure. And I think it's also unfortunate because, and if you saw the thumbnail for this episode on YouTube, did we break Martin Jones? Did we break Martin Jones? I mean, we gave up 6 goals against San Jose, 2 goals against Vegas, and then 8 goals. 8 goals against the Kings. I have seen some people saying, oh, well, if Philip Grubauer were in net, everyone would be lambasting him and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I've been hesitant to enter into that conversation because, generally speaking, I don't think that's the case. I think Martin Jones and Philip Grubauer are 2 very different goalies. I do think Martin Jones has given up bad goals. I do think Martin Jones is he has some technical things about him that open up scoring for other teams. Every goalie does. No goalie, no person, no player is perfect. I don't see it as the same thing. I can't quantify it, but it feels different. It looks different in my estimation. And some of that does have to do with how the team is playing in front of the goalies this year as opposed to last year, including these response goals. Or I should say, not really the response goals, because again, Daniel Sprong only got our 1 response goal. But, some people are like, be excited. Your team scored 9 goals. I love that we have the capability to score 9 goals. Absolutely correct. That is good. I don't like that we need to score 9 goals to win a 1-goal game in overtime. I don't like that. I don't like that we gave up the lead multiple times. We had a 2-goal lead in the third period. We had a 2-goal lead in the third period. We were up 7-5. Unassisted Oliver Bjorkstrand gets his 3rd goal of the season. So again, a bright spot. Bjorky getting going. But then we give up the lead. And in the third period, after Burakovsky gets us going at the end of the second, we give up 2 goals late in the third period. So we had a lead. We had an 8-6 lead going into the third period, and then we don't score at all in the third frame, and we give up 2 goals at 11:36 and 13:39. I don't like that. I don't like that. To take a look at where these shots were coming from, I mean, it was from everywhere. But we'll take a look at the shot chart. So let's look at the shot chart. This is Natural Stat Trick. You see here that we have the heat maps. This is for the entire game. So these are Kings attempts and Kraken attempts. And you see the G's mark the goals. So you have, these are the goals for the Kings. These are the goals for the Kraken. I mean, it was a wild game. What I don't like so much are these shots from distance. And I know people are like, and people have said this to me, yeah, you're supposed to shoot from distance, but also I think if teams get a clean shot from distance, that Martin Jones doesn't see those very well. I've said that since early in the season. And there was one that pinged off of Susie's skate. There was another one where JT Brown was saying maybe it got tipped in front. That one I was curious about. I mean, who am I to question JT Brown as a hockey player? Also, he was in the arena. But even with the tip, I don't know. I just thought that one I would have liked to see Jones make a better attempt at. Do I think goaltending played a factor? To an extent, yes. We saw also that the Kings pulled their goalie. We did not. Martin Jones rode this whole thing out, which of course begs the question, who gets the start? Did we break Martin Jones? Is it time to give Martin Jones a break? I think the answer is yes. I think it's really unfortunate that we'll probably see Philip Grubauer. It's not unfortunate that we're going to see Philip Grubauer. It's unfortunate that things went down this way because we've relied so much on Martin Jones. But I have questioned, are we giving him a break? And I didn't know what the right answer is. My gut was to let him go until the wheels fall off. And maybe we're there. Maybe the wheels have fallen off and we need to reset, give Philip Grubauer a go. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Let me know. That's the question of the day. Did we break Martin Jones? Is it time to give Philip Grubauer some more starts and give him the starts until we either like the matchup better? You see, now I don't know what game to play. I do think you go with Grubauer for the next game. Give Martin Jones a break. Give the team an opportunity to recalibrate and then figure out where we go from there. So coming up next on Locked on Kraken, I mean, again, some of y'all Locked on Sharks really think that this is a good game. And I'm trying to figure out why the heck anyone would think that 17 goals in a game is good hockey. So let's talk about that coming up next on Locked on Kraken. This episode of Locked On Kraken is brought to you by Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting information, stats, news, and analysis. You will get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to soccer, again, World Cup, let's go, to basketball, to, of course, the Men's National Hockey League. We've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, and I sure hope you do, because you listen to Locked On Kraken, your daily dose of everything Seattle Kraken, you can find sports podcasts on betonline.net as well. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. So head to the website today and learn more using your mobile device, your desktop, your laptop, your tablet, whatever you got. Remember, BetOnline is where the game starts. We started this podcast just kind of with my hands in the air and not waving like I just don't care. I care very deeply about what this means moving forward for the Seattle Kraken. I took you over to Bob Condor and his final buzzer analysis. So here are some crazy facts that Bob has, and I also want to take you to Allison Lucan's analysis. Crazy fact number one, believe it or not, part one. When Oliver Bjorkstrand scored the Kraken's 7th goal mid-second period, it moved the score to 7-5 in favor of Seattle. It was the first 2-goal lead of the game for either team. The Kraken and Kings effectively traded goals during the previous 11 scores. Just I'm interweaving my hands for those listening on audio. Like, what? The game was not conducive to making a sandwich in the kitchen or otherwise taking your eyes off John Forsland and JT Brown calling the game on Root Sports. I love that piece because that's another part of the reason I didn't even get up to move and migrate here to watch on playback, because literally it was like this. And then also I was afraid that if I even breathed the wrong way, that I would miss something that John Forsland said. It was a wild and crazy game. And also, I said this and I got into a little tiff with my Founding Four pod co-host on this. I just think it's wild that there are hockey fans that would rather see 17 goals in a game than to go to a shootout. Why do I like the shootout? Because at least you're not running the players ragged after a game that obviously was so tightly contested that you couldn't get it done in 60 minutes. Shootouts can be miserable and go on forever. Shootouts can be terrible for goalies. They can also make or break goalies. They can make or break skaters. I rather just see it go down to an actual skill that is useful in the game than run the juice out of the legs of these players in 3-on-3 open ice hockey. Because you don't get great hockey in 3-on-3. You just don't. Anyway, I went on a rant. I knew there's probably a few in me for this episode. That's one of them. So anyway, it was like John was calling this radio style. For those who don't know, radio style is you go super fast. You're talking about the action. It's boom, boom, boom. When you're calling a TV broadcast where the majority of people watching can see the action on the ice, you can lay out a little bit more. You can create pauses. You can interject storylines. But when the action, either you can't see it or it's moving at a whiplash pace, you have to go radio style. And John did a great job. JT was probably, when I'm an analyst and it gets like an excitable game like that, I'm usually like, I try to step away from the microphone or mute. I hit the mute button because I'm gasping, trying to first follow the action, but then also everything's high stakes when the game is moving that fast. everything's high stakes. I saw David Ember tweet, last goal wins, last shot wins. Like, this is the kind of hockey that this was. And everyone thought this was a wild and crazy game. It's not just me. We're going to get back to Bob's believe it or not facts. And again, there were some pretty good facts here, some good things that broadly speaking we will take. I just didn't think it would be packaged in this hellfire and hellscape of a game. But don't take my word for it. I want you to hear from Dave Hakstol. Then we're going to hear from Andre Burakovsky, who got the game-winning goal. And then we're going to hear from Jared McCann. What did these professionals, these elite-level coaches and players think about this game? And why are you wrong if you're someone who thought this was exciting? Let's start off with Jared McCann.
Yeah. I mean, some weird bounces, I guess. Felt like both goalies kind of made some big saves for us at times. And, the ice wasn't particularly great. The puck was bouncing everywhere. Guys were falling everywhere. So just one of those games.
How do you mentally stick with it through a game like this?
I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't. Like, it's tough. I haven't been in a game like this since junior hockey, and other than San Jose, I guess, right? And that's about it. We didn't really particularly play well defensively. We didn't shut it down in front of Jonesy, and that's on us. We got to figure it out here, and we got to get back to the way we know how to. That we're gonna be better if we win 3-2 than 9-5, 9-6, 9-7. Obviously offensively we had a great night. We did a lot of good things that we're gonna continue to build on. But at the same time, like I said before, we can't expect to win every game. Score 9 goals every game. It's just not the way it works.
Jared McCann, this is said he hasn't played a game like this since junior hockey. Oh, and wait, had to remember that we had a game like this against the San Jose we don't like to play defense Sharks. I hope this isn't a trend for the Seattle Kraken. While I've been impressed that we've been able to score as many goals as we do, which has given us a positive goal differential, we have seen some outliers, some blips. Again, we're at that quarter mark, so we're over 20 games. Not the overwhelming majority of our games, but enough of our games have been 4-5 goals conceded. And I'm a little bit nervous. That is not going to be sustainable. We need to learn a shutdown type of defense. As Bob alluded, that's what we thought we were going to get. It went off the rails in a big way. But it's not just me. It's not just Jared McCann. Here's what Andre Burakovsky had to say about this 17-goal game in which he gets 2 goals and the game winner.
Yeah, it was a kind of messed up night. I think we're trading chances, a lot of sloppy plays. I don't know. I don't think we played a really bad game, and so did they. I think we were lucky that they didn't play good at all. Because I don't know. I think we have a lot to clean up in the defensive side. I think in the offensive side, we're still scoring 9 goals, so that's definitely a positive. But we need to help our D out better, and we need to help out our goalie better. We can't have nights when we let in 8 goals. That's just reality.
Oh, but wait, there is more. What did head coach Dave Hakstol think about the affair? Let's send it over to Dave.
Well, it was a crazy game. It wasn't, obviously not a well-played hockey game in a lot of respects. When you look at the types of chances and the goals against and things like that. End of the day, it was one of those games where last shot wins, and that's exactly what happened. It's better to be on the winning side and the good side of it than the other. But it's a crazy hockey game.
Obviously not a well-played hockey game. So stay out of my menchies. Stay out of my mentions with "this is exciting. This is I want to see this kind of." No, this is not good hockey, people. This is not good hockey. I'm on the record through and through as being the queen of loving and appreciating good defense. But even taking that hat off, this was not a good game. A crazy hockey game. That's what Dave Hakstol said. Obviously wasn't a good hockey game. That's a crazy hockey game, he says. The team will not be practicing. Honestly, you know me, I'm all about practice. I don't know what you practice. I think you dump this one into a metal trash can and light it on fire. So coming up next, let's get into the good things. Some of you are like, you're so negative. I have to keep it real. And real also recognizes that there were some things, again, in the grand scheme of Seattle Kraken hockey that were good. And that's what we'll talk about coming up on Locked On Kraken. Thank you, as always, for listening to Locked On Kraken and making us a part of your daily listening experience in the sports world, in the hockey world. I appreciate you. Again, my name is Erica L. Ayala. I am your host of Locked On Kraken. There were some good things that happened here. We talked yesterday about Matty Beniers and his point streak that he could earn. We talked about wanting to get our longest ever winning streak. We talked about wanting to get points against Pacific Division squads. And you know what? All of those things were also a factor in this game. Matty Beniers scored 2 goals in this game. And we love that for Matty Beniers. I talked about the power play goal that he had. That was the second goal of the contest. You remember back when it was a 1-1 score after we conceded a goal 16 seconds into the game? Yeah, well, Matty Beniers is who righted the ship there. And, Matty Beniers did not get an assist, but he got 2 points and he got 2 goals. And I have been talking about, I mentioned it yesterday as we were going into the streak for Matty Beniers. He's a player who is evolving his game. He is the player who does the right thing when we need it done, whether that's a goal, whether that's an assist, or whether that's a hustle play to win the puck that then leads to a sequence where we get another goal. That's Matty Beniers through and through. So I'm really glad to see that his point streak continues. That was amazing. So we continue on the Matty Beniers streak. We continue on a winning streak. 6 games winning streak for the Seattle Kraken. That's fantastic. That's our longest ever win streak. We gave up 8 goals, several leads, as we mentioned, but we do sweep the division in our road sequence and our away sequence here. So we did win out November. That's what I wanted to see. So that puts us in good position going into next month, and we have a homestand coming up. So those are some of the good things. Let's take a look quickly at the division. If we look at the Pacific Division, the Seattle Kraken are in position here, still in second overall in the division. We still have a plus 16 goal differential, so that's good. We improved to 8-1-1 on the road. I really like that. You can see those W's, 6 of them right there. We're 6-4-2 at home with some home games coming up. That's going to be critically important. Another thing to be mindful of, it's not necessarily good, it's not necessarily bad, it's just a fact, is that we have some teams coming in that we need to play well against. So we have Washington coming in. Washington is not faring particularly well in the Metropolitan Division. They're at a -8 goal differential. They're sitting at 10-11-3, and on the road, they are 3-7-2. So this is an opportunity for the Seattle Kraken against Washington. We have them coming up. That being said, Washington plays in a more, generally speaking, competitive conference and division, and they have a history, not to mention that Ovechkin is coming into town. So we have that tomorrow. We'll go over that. And then we have on Saturday the Florida Panthers, followed up by the Montreal Canadiens. So if we look at the league standings overall, Boston sits at the top of the table. Boston, New Jersey, and Vegas kind of flip-flopping there. The Seattle Kraken are now 5th overall. We jumped up a few spots here. But, we're going to be playing some teams that are in that top 20. All of them. Washington, tomorrow. Montreal. Ooh, will Shane Wright be back? We'll have to talk about that one. Montreal is 19th overall and Florida 17th. Not to mention that these are teams that have seen playoff action in the last handful of years, particularly last season for the Florida Panthers. So we've got some work to do, folks. Speaking of Shane Wright, I had this open actually when I was looking at this earlier. The Henderson Silver Knights. We play the Henderson Silver Knights on Friday and Saturday. Those should be the last games that Shane Wright is eligible for. I mentioned, is it possible that he comes back to the team with Morgan Geekie out? Geekie's out day-to-day right now. He hasn't been added to the injured reserve, so we'll have to see what happens there. But also, we'll have to figure out what happens with Shane Wright. World Juniors is also coming up. So questions to be answered, but we can't answer them right now. All right, fam, let's breathe. We'll take the win. We'll take the 6-game win streak. A little bit different than I thought I'd feel after getting our longest ever franchise winning streak, but c'est la vie. That's hockey, baby. Let's just not make it a habit of being Kraken hockey. Clean up the little things. Really focus on defense. I do think we go with Philip Grubauer, give Martin Jones a rest. That was a tough one. And I think the reason we didn't see a goalie switch is because let's just give Martin Jones a rest. And you don't want Philip Grubauer to kind of absorb that wild and crazy energy if we want to give him a start. So Washington coming into town, probably going to see Philip Grubauer. I do want to see the splits between Jones and Grubauer. We'll talk about that tomorrow on a game day episode of Locked on Kraken. That'll do, folks. Let me know. Question of the day. Did we break? Yikes. Martin Jones. Did we break him? Oh, I hope we didn't break him. Hold fast. Stay true. Be kind to yourself and to one another. And I'll see you tomorrow on Locked on Kraken.